What's up, everyone, and welcome to Parked Podcast presented by DGA. I'm Mitch Phillips, joined by Jeff Carson. And this week, on today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the All-Star event, interviewing this year's recipient of the DGA Replay Course Growth Program, and later, Shasta Criss is joining us. It's going to be an amazing episode. Thank you all for joining us. Zach, how you doing, man?
Doing well, Mitchie. Happy to be back for our second episode. Super pumped about our guests today. Some people I've never had a chance to talk to. Shasta Criss, always, like, we've known him for over a decade at this point. So super excited to have a chance to sit down with him. I'm dog sitting, so different location today, but no, loving it, man. Loving life, just on the grind.
That's awesome. And if you don't know, Zach is a legitimate dog trainer. So if you're in the Atlanta area, a little plug, get your dog trained. You can hang out with Zach. It's going to be an awesome time. Definitely do that. I'm doing well as well. I'm excited for this podcast. I'm excited that we're back doing this, but I got to be honest. I'm excited for F1 testing this week. Formula One is back. I'm stoked. They're going to be in Bahrain, get to see the new cars. Really looking forward to that. All-Stars, Disc Golf Pro Tour, everything's coming back. But for right now, most exciting thing for me is definitely Formula One. Looking forward to that happening. But just want to let you guys know, if you are listening on YouTube, definitely like and subscribe. We are over going to be trying to get this thing going and growing there, as well as on Spotify and Apple. If you're listening there, give us a review. Let us know what we could be doing better. If you're on YouTube, comment below. Maybe request some future guests. We'll definitely have some questions we'll ask throughout the podcast. Would love to interact with you guys there, and follow us over at Parked Podcast on Instagram. Thank you for all the support after the first episode. We're getting into today. Zach, what's the last hole that you parked, man?
Last hole was yesterday. Felt like Sunday because we had a day off for President's Day. Went down to Douglasville, Georgia, and I played Boundary Waters, which has 3 courses. If you're in Georgia and you never played Boundary Waters, it's a great destination because you can stay there all day, play 3 different courses that are pretty different in style. I played 2. The last hole that I parked there was hole 18 on the Hawk layout. It is a par 4, so I parked it on my second shot. Okay. But
is it the orange baskets?
Those are the blue baskets.
Which one is that? Boundary Water. I know them by the numbers. Boundary Water's 3. It's the par 4 that's like straight up the gut, and then it finishes on the left.
No, it's a hard dog leg left off the tee, and then it's like straight up. No, I take that back. It's a pushing shot. It's like 330 straight, and then you have to dog.
Yeah, it's got the gully. It's got the gully all on the left side.
Yes, this is the one. Okay. This is the one.
Dude, that's a tough hole to get your second shot close.
Yeah, man. So my destroyer actually pushed 2 straight, but then it clipped a little limb on the side, on the far right side of the fairway, and then it forced it to nose up and fade out left. And I was able to use the new Eagle Envy, or the Rebirth Envy
Prism Proton
on a really, it's like a very flexed line, and it just straightens out and goes right up to the pin. Tap in.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Good way to finish out the round too. And I'll be playing those with you. We got the Georgia State Championships coming up.
That's right.
Over at Boundary Waters. All 3 courses, 3 days. You can't repeat any of the courses. You make a mistake, or 2 days. Yeah, feels like 3 because practice and everything.
Yeah, but you're right. Not being able to repeat the course is tough, because one of the best things about like a multi-round tournament is you can go back and fix your mistakes. And this one is literally like, you have one chance.
Yep.
Do it right. And if you screw it up,
wait till next year.
Tough luck.
Well, the last hole that I parked was over at Gatewood Park, just a little north of there, Cartersville, Georgia. I threw a DGA Ice Avalanche, my money disc, on a forehand. And it's a beautiful hole. Like, walking up has the full like wooden kind of gate and everything, nice looking tee pad, and it's just a nice up the gut forehand. Can be backhand as well, but it feels good to park that one. It kind of sets the standard for like what that course is about to be. A lot of controlled forehands, a lot of that kind of 280 to like 330 straight with like low finishes. So felt really good to park that. Wasn't able to actually finish playing the round though, because this daylight savings thing still hasn't caught back up. So I'm getting pretty tired of that, of getting dark at like 5 o'clock. I don't like it. But we're getting past it. We're moving past it.
Almost there.
Yeah. But helping us move it past it, always a good cold beer at the end of the day. Zach, what are you sipping on tonight?
I brought it back to an Atlanta brewery, one that a lot of people probably know of. It's called Sweetwater.
The
Sweetwater
original
Brewing.
big craft brewery, honestly, like the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's like the first big Georgia craft beer outside of the original Atlanta Brewing Company.
Right.
Before they changed their name to Red Brick and before they went back to Atlanta Brewing Company. But Sweetwater, this is their hazy IPA.
Okay.
And it's literally just called
The
hazy IPA. What I love about it is it has some of my favorite hops: Mosaic, Citra, Eldorado, Azaka. It's delicious. I mean, just give this bad boy a look, right?
Ooh, yeah.
You can hide your face with it. It's hazier, hazier than the time that I had to play disc golf in the smoke at the Amateur World Disc Golf Championship when Canada was on fire and all the smoke was coming through and you couldn't see anything and we couldn't play because the air quality was so bad. It's that hazy. So it's perfect.
It's that hazy. If that was a beer, that's what that is. Good to know. Good to know. Well, I'm sipping on something not from Georgia, actually. I'm sipping on the Circle Hooked, also hazy IPA from St. Petersburg, Florida. My girlfriend's dad hooked me up with this for Christmas. He always gets me some kind of craft beer from the Tampa, St. Pete area. And it is very interesting. It's 6.9%. But it's a very bitter, almost like a West Coast hazy. Has a nice like dry finish to it. Really enjoying it, actually. They actually in the description say credit to New England for having been home to the rise of great things, but we know the truth. It's always more fun in the Florida sun. Hazy, juicy, and checking in at 6.9%. This IPA debuts as the best of New England transfers to Tampa Bay. So it's definitely got a little bit different vibe than a normal hazy IPA. And it's really good. It's surprising me a lot. And I love being able to drink beers that I don't get to have unless they are like gifted to me. That's just a special thing. So I freaking love it.
It is a special thing, especially when someone thinks of you and buys the beer specifically for you.
Yeah.
Went to a birthday party recently and her uncle brought me Treehouse beer. And if you like beer, you know Treehouse. Treehouse is arguably the best craft beer in the world. Yeah. So I got to drink some Julius. I mean, come on. It's good enough to slap your mother, but
incredible. Hazy enough to do this, good enough to slap your mom for this. It's a wild time out here in the What Are You Sipping On? But let's get into some news. All the news going to be around All-Stars. We'll kind of go through this quick because, full honesty, there was a lot of misses and not a lot of hits for me. Hard start to the season for Disc Golf Network. The conditions were terrible. It didn't help.
It made it a lot worse.
Like, I mean, I was messaging with Calvin's caddy Joey for a little bit, and he was popping on camera, and I messaged him, and I was like, "Hey man, how's it really out there?" And he was like, "It's terrible. It's literally swamp. This is the worst feeling ever." And he's like, "I'm not even playing. This is just terrible to be physically here."
Yeah, it looks miserable.
Yeah, it didn't. Not that there's anything wrong with the course, but for an all-star event, it just like didn't feel like an all-star location. Me and Hayden got together and we were watching it, and like I was just kind of annoyed, honestly, with our app was freezing, crashing on Apple TV. I saw some other people posting online about that. Anything that was Fire TV, no matter what it was crashing, it was freezing. The audio rain was hitting stuff. The lenses weren't wiped with video. It just felt like a not practiced and not finished product. And I was kind of let down, by being honest.
Yeah, it was definitely a letdown. And I mean, I'm not putting blame on anyone, right? Like I get that there was a crazy shuffle and there was staff trying to put hay all over the course just so people could walk on the fairways. But I mean, even with some of the production stuff, like we missed a lot of catch cam footage. And this course isn't very friendly for just a one shot from one camera. You kind of have to have, there's a lot of dog legs and a lot of over the hill or down the hill or, you know, and so you needed multiple camera shots to know what the heck was happening. And we just didn't get those.
No, not at all.
We also didn't have a lot of information about scores throughout the whole event. They honestly put more of an emphasis on what team was in the lead as opposed to which individual was beating their opponent. And so you really didn't have a lot of knowledge of like, where are the matchups and who's close and where's the blowout round. And
I think the just even saying you have a lot of knowledge, there was no knowledge at all. We had players in doubles playing to the wrong baskets. They had
didn't
no
know where
idea
they were going. You're playing safari holes, so it's like
they didn't know where they were going. They at least both sets of doubles both putted to the wrong basket, so like there was that happening.
Yeah.
It just was a lot of confusion. I mean, if you didn't see the interview of Isaac and Calvin over on Tour Life, it was hilarious because they literally had no idea, and they're the captains. Like it was just wild.
Yeah.
It was funny to watch. But let's get into how it all played out as we move through this. Putting, I mean, there's nothing to talk about here. Marweed's the GOAT. Steady BLs. It's the best putter.
Steady BLs for the win, man.
It was not even a question. Although Proctor did make a push.
He gave him a run.
Putter. But I mean, I want to see Marweed versus Own. That's what I want to see. I want to see that putting competition. That would be pretty sweet. Maybe at Worlds when they do that,
like a game of horse.
Something. I don't know. Maybe even the same kind of format, but like seeing horse would be sweet too. But like preset ridiculous things.
Yeah.
There could be a lot with that. But Marweed and Own, I mean, the absolute goats of putting. Shot shaping. Chris Dickerson, master of mid ranges. I mean, he was shaping backhands. He did a couple forehands.
Bullseye. Bullseye. Every shot was in the bullseye, man. You can't beat that.
Yeah, it's that Tennessee golf, dude. It's easy. He's like, these are the gaps. These are huge. This is the joke.
He also works from both sides of the box, right? He throws backhands, he throws forehands, he can throw understable, he throws overstable. The man has it all.
Yeah, Alden Harris also. I mean, going into the finals, brand new bag, brand new set of discs. Was someone who threw Prodigy for many years and was locked into very specific runs of things. And already off the gate, we were able to see him really confident in that. In the women's side, Allie Smith and Jessica Weiss battled it out. Again, both players that have both sides of the disc, and we're really making it happen. And Allie Smith, someone else who's switching bags and kind of giving us a precursor of what's to come. Something that we were not surprised at all. Anthony Barella throws a disc far, like really far, like unsafe for work far.
He did say that was the farthest disc, like the best shot he's ever thrown in his life.
Really?
Like then he did it again.
In like salt, like in the salt flats or in like within crazy wind, like lightweight discs.
But he's never done that.
Really?
He's never gone. Brian Earhart asked him. He was like, distance record. Are you doing something on it? He goes, yeah, if they bring back Big D in the desert, I'll go.
For sure.
But like without it, he's like, I'm not just going to go to the desert where there's 50-mile-an-hour winds just to try to break the record. He wants to do it as an event.
But he threw what, 713?
705 and then 713.
Yeah, pushing both. And absolutely absurd. I mean, also Albert Tom, still the bazooka, but I would say AB is a tank. I mean, he can run around with a bazooka, but AB is an entire vehicle of distance.
It's a great metaphor.
That's what it felt like to me. It felt right. And then also seeing Cole Rodolin crush some discs. I don't know what disc he was throwing. Probably Torrents, if I had to guess. Throwing them extremely far. Got confirmation from our producer Gage. He was smashing Torrents. And then on the women's side, no surprise. I mean, Ellie absolutely crushing the Torrent as well. Ridiculous. I mean, she is the full package of distance. And if she can putt better than Anthony Barilla, shoot. I mean, that's where it's really going to come down to it.
I'm very curious to see how the close range game is for her, but also the wooded game, right? A lot of these Pro Tour stops are in the woods. Yeah. And you can throw 700 feet. Doesn't really matter if you can't put it on a golf line. So exactly. I am curious. Also, I have to do a special shout out for Tom Gannon. If you guys were watching the All-Star event, you may have heard Brian throw out a little shout out on there as well. Tom stepped up at the end of the distance competition while the official markers were out, and he threw a 600-foot drive on that course.
What?
Over 600 feet. And the guy...
caddy, by the way.
He's a caddy. He is Missy Gannon's husband.
The king.
The king of caddies, indeed. Over 600 feet. And so people are kind of wondering, is Tom going to join the Pro Tour? Or at least like when he turns 39, go on the Masters Tour, something, right? Go put it to work. That's
crazy, dude.
Mega props.
I love that.
To the king of caddies, Tom Gannon.
Heck yeah. Moving into the way everything kind of played out in the doubles and the singles. Again, we already talked about it. It's hard to follow. It's hard to understand what was happening in the scores. DGN has a weird obsession with if everything ended right now, this is what it would be. I don't know why that matters.
The worst way to score.
Well, I guess in this conditions, in this setting, that did kind of matter because it's like the rain could get bad enough where it could end. But I don't care. I don't want it to end right now. I want to watch the whole program. And it was like consistently on the screen of if everything were to end right now, here's 1.5 to 1.5. What the heck does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, where are the points coming from?
No. And with the conditions, like it was kind of troll. Like you could tell that like they tried for a while. But then you had Gannon ending the round with a full X step slam from 30 feet.
Probably a 75 mile an hour shot from 33.
Yeah. I will say, when we were all hanging out, I think you went to the bathroom or grabbed another beer or something like that during that moment. We were able to pause that and DVR and can come forward. So I will say that was awesome to be able to do that. So if you got
DVR
a small ladder,
feature works great.
DVR's the bam. It was great. So, but yeah, the doubles was, I mean, Isaac and Ezra, the brothers, they're not messing around. They absolutely crushed it. And something that was surprising, AB and Wysocki putting was like 20 feet.
Rocky at best. Yeah. I will say in the beginning, Ricky was holding it up. Right. Like it would have toppled over on hole number 2 if Ricky wasn't there. And Ricky had no warm up. Ricky showed up late. I don't know what his excuse was.
No, he did. I don't think he cared. He just walked in and was like, doubles, let's do it.
You're probably right. I don't know. But yeah, no warm up for Rick. Didn't putt, didn't throw a single tee shot until hole 1 of the doubles.
Right.
I don't know, man. We knew that AB, his putt is all over the place. But it was shocking to see Ricky also in that same area. There was one hole that Ricky tried to pitch out, hit a tree, rolled backwards, pitch out again, and it landed on the green and then rolled even further backwards. And I don't know, he only missed out by, I don't know, a couple of strokes in his singles match, but he was just having a hard day.
Yeah, you mentioned to me that moving on to the singles, that Ricky kind of lost it for the team there. Like it kind of just like really fell on him towards the end.
Yeah, well, it was him and Gannon.
Yeah,
and all Gannon had to do was tie Ricky in order to close it out.
Gannon carried. I mean, you watched the interview afterwards. I mean, he put the team on his back.
I mean, they were both at 4 over. That is what got them.
Wasn't there no one under par? I think I screenshotted it. I'm pretty sure there was no one under par.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the best score was even.
Even. Aaron Gossage at even. Ezra Robinson at even. Kyle Klein at even. Like
also,
no one was under par.
I wouldn't have picked those 3 to be leading the pack.
No.
Maybe Kyle.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have picked Ezra. No offense, Ezra.
No, not at all. But I will say
against that field, I don't choose you.
Right. Highlight, we'll kind of end on this. Highlight of it, the only person, singles or doubles, to birdie that was at 430, something crazy canyon-looking hole, was none other than Ezra Robinson, which was, I mean, not a surprise to us. He smashes. I've been losing to Ezra since he was 12 years old. But I mean,
he smashes and consistently hits putts from circle 2.
Consistently.
All over the place. I mean, he's just smashing the chains.
And to wrap it up here, Team Isaac wins, Team Missy wins. We have no idea what happened. That was the All-Star event. And I think to end it on a high note, I love that we have an All-Star event. I love that it exists. It needs to be at its own venue. And I think it needs to have some kind of prestige and some kind of want other than you did great last season. It needs to be your Pro Bowl, your NBA All-Star.
Yes.
Like we just had NBA All-Stars. You just had Steph Curry winning the, thing, like people, the dunk contest, like people look forward to All-Stars, and it puts pressure on the front third of the season so that you can make All-Stars.
That's what I like about it, right? If you're a rookie coming into 2024, you don't have a chance to make All-Stars until 2025, right? I would rather All-Stars hit in June, where there's a little bit of a break. And then people, maybe it's just like 2 weeks, you know, a buffer on both ends of All-Stars. You do the event on its own course. It makes it fun. It makes it exciting.
Right.
It's not extra practice for the Pro Tour event or anything like that. I don't know. I don't know why they do it in the beginning. Maybe just to keep the flow of the tour.
The break would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, I guess summertime is better weather standard.
Yeah.
It's up in the air, but
weather in Florida, you never know. So, well, wrapping the All-Stars up, like I said, a lot of confusion, but thankful we do have that event, and I think it's going to keep getting better. But when we return, Jeff Carson with the Greater Rochester Disc Golf Club will be joining us. You're listening to Park Podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is Jeff Carson, the Vice President of the Greater Rochester Disc Golf Club, and he is the recipient in his club of the DGA Replay Course Growth Program. And how this works is clubs apply. They say, hey, we have a course that's in need of new baskets, and they have a plan to upcycle their existing baskets. They fill out an application, and they get awarded a full set of 18 baskets of the DGA Mach 7s. So it's a pretty awesome program. Joining us, Jeff from Rochester. Dude, how are you? Congratulations on being the recipient of this 2024 award, man.
Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be on. It's very exciting. This has been 2 years in the making. We applied in 2022 and we couldn't quite get it. We had some hangups with the county who owns the course, but we were very excited to get it this year.
Awesome. What course is it at that'll be receiving the baskets? So
this will be at Allison Park. I would say it's our oldest permanent course here in Rochester. It's been around since about 1975 when Jim Palmieri, Royce Roycenowski, Jamie Malt, kind of some old OG disc golfers.
OGs for real.
Yeah, they started at 1975, hosted a few temporary events. I had 1984 Worlds there, and then we got permanent installation 1989, and we actually got Mach 3s for that. And those are the same baskets that came in originally. So those baskets, the Mach 3s that are currently in the ground, are about 25 years old. So this is very exciting to get these new ones. So we're hoping these new Mach 7s last another 25 years for us.
That's crazy. 25-year-old baskets. So I mean, you're excited for this. The locals are like, finally.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the older players are going to be sad because of the history on them, but we've heard plenty of complaints over the years on the catching ability of those.
So now
compared to the newer baskets.
No complaints are allowed. We got brand new baskets. If you're missing it, it's
exactly. Exactly. And it's nice too because we have those old rubber fly pads, and that's everyone hates those. But with these new baskets, the county's willing to put in some money for some gravel, and we have some turf, and we're going to be able to put in some brand new turf tee pads. So we're getting brand new tee pads and baskets. So it's a great upgrade.
Yeah, this is going to take that course really to the next level.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's been the most popular course in the area for a long time because it's the one closest to the city center, so it got a lot of play. But yeah, it's definitely gonna help.
I love that. Mitch, honestly, it reminds me of Redan.
Yeah,
it's kind of how I feel about
the Atlanta area. So there's a course like that's been there for so long that would man, if this course got a new baskets, everything else would kind of fall into place. So that sounds like exactly what's happening with Allison. So that's really cool. Tell us about some of the other area courses around there. Tell us about the Rochester scene, how long you've been involved, because that's something I'm not super familiar about, is that scene.
Oh, yeah. Rochester, we have the oldest disc golf tournament in the world. It's the Rochester Flying Disc Open. Actually, we went back to the original name, which is the American Flying Disc Open. Yeah. We just had the 50th anniversary last year. We got it on Silver Series. Because of that, we didn't really have any championship level courses in the area, so we got one of our better courses. We got permission from the town to really upgrade it into a championship level course. So we Parma Park right now, it's kind of our gem of the area, and it's going to be probably hosting all of our big tournaments from now on. I heard you guys talking about Ezra Robinson. He came in last year, took that down.
Yeah, I watched that coverage. That coverage was fantastic.
Yeah, the changes have been very well received, so we're excited about that. And then on the other side of town where Allison is, we had another course called Shadow Pines that just went in. a couple years ago that everyone loves to play. It's got 3 pads and so 3 levels of pads, so it's really accessible for everyone. And we're even getting a brand new course there, a couple miles away, a little more wooded. But yeah, as far as our local scene, we have that rich history. Our club, Greater Rochester Disc Golf Club, has been around for about 20, almost 25 years now. Wow. It's a really old club, one of the oldest clubs in the country. I've been playing since 2013. I've been vice president for a couple of years now. So I'm very active. I run a couple tournaments. I run a sanctioned singles league. I just love the sport. I love growing the sport. And I'm just excited to see where else I can take it.
Yeah, so you guys have a pretty good mix there then, because I know Shadow Pines is on an old ball golf course, right?
Yes.
And then you have several wooded courses and then several mixed courses. So it's a pretty good range up there in the area, yeah?
Absolutely. We're not the most geologically diverse places in the area, but Ellison Park is very hilly. The signature hole goes down a big sledding hill. It's like 500 feet with a pretty sharp grade. So, awesome. And then Parm is a good mix. We have Basil, which is heavily wooded. A lot of people complain about that, but to us, it's what a wooded course should be. There should be a little bit of luck involved.
If you don't leave a wooded course a little bit frustrated, I don't know if you played it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's incredible. And I mean, looking at the website here of the Greater Rochester Disc Golf Club, I mean, dude, this is deep. Like, this is a standard. Like, Zach and I were talking before the podcast. Like, we got a Facebook page for most of this kind of stuff. Like, this is a deep thing of staff, of updates, of literally Ellison Park. Here you go. We have these baskets have been moved for a 9-hole safari. Like, you guys are keeping it up to date. What has it been like to be a part of a club in the role you've been in for the couple of years now? That's consistently growing the sport within itself. And how many members do you guys have? What is it like to be a part of that?
It's been great. I mean, I want to give all the credit to our past president, Ryan Hand, who's served for almost 20 years, not quite, maybe 15 years. But yeah, he really held he kept the ship steady through all that time. And then our current president, Dave Kopp, who is just tireless, and he brings most of the changes. He talks to everybody. I think it really kind of starts with a good leader who's not in it just for himself, but actually in it to help grow the sport and keep the sport moving. That's the big thing.
That's awesome. And what advice can you offer to community builders, tournament directors, et cetera, who are looking to do something like this and apply to replay? And what was that process like?
I'd say big thing, just have a very good relationship with the municipality that the course is in. If it's not privately owned, we have a mix of mainly town parks and some county parks here. And this is a county park. So maintain a good working relationship with them. Make sure your club itself is active in the community, not just serving for disc golfers, but being very respectful and making sure that their members are being very respectful towards non-disc golfers, and just being very open with everyone. Just maintain those good relationships, and that'll come back to help you in the end.
That's awesome, man. I know you guys have a lot of other people outside of you and the president of the club. Quick shout out to Connor McKegg, who's also he's another guy on the IDEO disc golf team, sponsoring with the Syncrasies. And I was actually chatting with him this morning just about some of his disc golf content, and then I heard that you were going to join the podcast, and so it was just really interesting. But he told me that he's like a steward of the course that these holes are the baskets are going into. And so I just love how it's a lot deeper than the top couple of guys, right? You have a whole list of people who are there ready to help and put in the time.
Absolutely. I don't want to, obviously I can't go on forever naming names, but people like Connor and just the people who maybe can't put the full effort and time into serving on the club board for the full year, but if they can kind of do their one little part for one course, that helps immensely. Having a good liaison for one course. We have people who donated shovels to Shadow Pines, and that's their home course, and they put a lot of love into it. And wow, yeah, we fully embrace that.
That's awesome. It sounds like the community and everything that's going on there is incredible. I mean, it's evident in that. I mean, congratulations on being the recipient of this replay program. And I'm excited to see what that looks like and the crazy. I mean, the small world of disc golf that Zach's like, oh yeah, I know a guy who's going to be helping that. Like that's
Oh yeah.
crazy. I love that. Zach, you're going to ask about New York.
I'll ask.
Go
So
for it.
I visited some friends in New York City, and I know that it's not super close to Rochester, right?
How
Rochester's
close is that for someone who doesn't know?
It's like 4 hours.
I'd say closer to 5.5, 6. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
It's a drive.
So,
I live closer to Detroit than I do to New York City.
Yeah. You guys are on a Great Lake, right? Rochester's right on.
Yep, Lake Ontario.
So not in your wheelhouse, but I had to ask because I was there. I wanted to play disc golf, and New York City has 0 disc golf courses.
Yeah, that's not something I'm too familiar with, but I know the surrounding areas and about an hour and a half outside have some pretty good. I know Wedge out there is a really strong one. I think Long Island has some good clubs there as well. But yeah, I've heard it's kind of a dead zone for disc golf, which is unfortunate. Which I know is kind of a
Park would be pretty sweet. I mean, you go to Central Park, and hey, I mean, we have a Central Park here in Atlanta, and that's a pretty dope course. So I mean, people are like, "Oh, you're playing Central Park?" It's like, yeah, here in Atlanta. It's like, oh, yeah, not as cool.
But I was just curious because I don't know if that's something people talk about, but with the amount of people who live there, right? Same with like Los Angeles. So many people, millions of people in this one area, 0 disc golf courses. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I didn't know if you had any insight.
No, unfortunately, I don't. We're pretty lucky. Rochester's a pretty small, relatively smaller city, so we can get some closest. We're never more than 20 minutes away from a course. So
gotta love that.
Oh
yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, dude, thanks so much for joining us, Jeff. Congratulations to you and the club. You guys are doing incredible things. You're growing the sport. Like you said, being on a Great Lake, hosting a tournament. When is that tournament happening this year? For people who maybe want to come up to Rochester to listen to this and like, man, I'd love to be a part of that.
I am not 100% sure on the date. It is right in between. It's going to be the Rochester Flying Disc Open, American Flying Disc Open is going to be right between Great Lakes Open and it's either MVP or Green Mountain, whatever the one is, where we're right smack dab in the middle, travel wise. So we're hoping to get quite a few pros, even more so than we did last year for this one.
That's awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on being the recipient of the DGA Replay Course Growth Program for 2024, and can't wait to see how it all plays out, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys very much.
Awesome, man. If you're interested in having your course replayed, be sure to hit the link in the description below, and applications reopen in August for 2025. So really incredible that gets to happen. Thanks so much, Jeff, for joining us, and we'll be right back. 2024 season is right around the corner, and we are all building our bags. Well, got to keep an eye out on discgolf.com in the coming days. There are going to be some insanely crazy discounts. I don't really even know on the details. I was just told that it's going to be some of the biggest discounts ever on discs. I mean, I've been picking up a ton of discs this year being on Team DGA. Zach, are you looking to put any discs in your bag?
Always, man. Anything that's new coming out or just something I need as a refresh. Discs that are getting a little bit old, a little bit seasoned. And yeah, I'm always looking for a deal. If someone's dropping $4, $5 off a disc, I am way more likely to go ahead and pick up multiples at that point. Because next thing you know, someone's going to buy 10, they're going to be sold out. So if the deal is as crazy as it sounds, I'm probably going to be buying handfuls at a time.
Yeah. And for someone that loves a couple of molds here, if you're like, man, I need a backup on these 5 squalls, which you should throw the squall. It's incredible. Hey, pick up 5 of them. That sale's coming soon in the coming days. Be on the lookout over at discgolf.com. Click the link in the description. Head over there. Joining us now is DGA Icon team member, been with DGA for 10 plus years now, 54 wins, over 100,000 in PGA earnings, the legend himself, Shasta Criss. Dude, how are you? Thanks for joining the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad it worked out. I'm good. Back in the States for, I guess tonight, just about 1 week, and then I just drove to Texas over the last 3 days from Santa Cruz, California. So.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see Shasta's literally like at a rest stop? You got the van in the back. Where are you in Texas for the Texas listeners?
I'm somewhere off I-10, about 50 miles west of San Antonio. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the crickets in the back. This is a whole vibe. This is peaceful.
Some cricket or something just started going, so we got that part of it.
I love it. It's the ambience. It's the ambience. If you're listening to the podcast here while you're trying to cool down for the night, this is the vibe that Shasta's bringing.
Right.
I love it,
man. First of all, been a huge fan for a long time. Just seeing you out there wrecking courses, racking up wins. I know early on in your career, you were not a PDGA member. Do you mind giving us a little bit of a rundown of how you started into disc golf and what brought you into the competitive scene?
Yeah, I grew up in Santa Cruz, California, home of the famous De La. So I think the first time I went and played around a disc golf there was 1992. I think I was in high school, and I grew up playing golf at the golf course next door, and then a buddy, I always knew what disc golf was, and he introduced me there, and then kind of got more and more into it. And then it wasn't really until the early 2000s that I kind of had a little itch of realized what competition was, and I didn't play my first tournament until 2005, actually. So. Okay,
and your first tournament was an A tier. Like that is insane.
I like to play the big ones. Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
Go big or go home.
Straight to the pro division.
Yeah.
Had the DGA, and yeah. It's
so that
with the experience I had, it was the right division for me to be in it. Looking back, but definitely was way over my head. I didn't know all the rules yet. And people were teaching me in the first.
Hey, honestly, it makes your win percentage even more impressive because you have like an 18% win percentage.
Oh, cool.
So basically 1 out of 5 tournaments, you're coming home with number 1. And the fact that you started your competitive career as a pro, I don't know how many people can say they are doing that right now.
Yeah, not as much anymore. I think it happens more back in the day. More people would go to pro because what was available, and yeah, but it's no, thank you. I didn't realize that. But granted, most of those have probably been in MP40. MP40's been good to me. I'm going in my I'm 47, so this is actually my 9th season of competing at MP40. So
wow.
But I still play open. I think my last few wins were in open, so over in Thailand.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a bit. I definitely want to get into Thailand and everything. It's been awesome to watch everything that's going on. And like Zach said, been a fan for a long time, and it's been kind of cool to see you and I's paths cross over the years and different things. Talk about being, you first started and got sponsored after an amazing finish at the Masters Cup. You got picked up by DGA, local company. You've been with DGA now. This is your 14th or 15th year with DGA?
2010 is when they picked me up, so this would be the 15th season with them.
Wow. Are you the longest running DGA sponsored player right now?
No, I think that probably belongs to Christine King, actually.
Okay.
On the team, at least before I was. There might be a couple others that are more maybe lower tiered players that have been around that long. But
yeah, Gage is letting us know KK's at 21 years.
21 years, yeah, there you go.
That's crazy. Goodness. We'll talk about playing. You've played since the early 2000s. What's it been like, the culture of disc golf, watching this thing grow, watching it from, hey, we just want to play. We're just going to go play wherever we can, to then you actually got to work with the Pro Tour when it first started. Like, you've seen the full spectrum of this sport.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the full spectrum because I was a little bit of a late bloomer because it's, disc golf has been going on officially since 1976. So, but yeah, I've seen the pro level really escalate. Like the fact that my first tournament was an A tier, I was playing pro. Right. That doesn't really happen anymore, but that was close to 20 years ago now. So, and then being a part of that first year of the disc golf pro tour and basically setting up a carnival, trying to practice tearing down the carnival and shipping it to the next one. It's definitely. It's amazing, and I'm a big fan too. I like to consume content too, and just because I'm I'd love to see where it's gone and how amazing the athletes are now and how like streamlined the production is, and you know, from where it's, how far it's gone. And I think this is the 9th season of the Pro Tour now. It's pretty incredible.
How many people did you guys have in the beginning? You know, you say it's like a carnival, but like how much help was there?
On the crew that was taking, we had Steve Dodge provided us with an RV and a big Pro Tour trailer with all the stuff in it. And it was Zoe Andike, Dustin Keegan, Paul Oman, and myself, the 4 of us.
That's some good people. That's some good company.
That is good company.
We were already friends at that point, but it really solidified our friendship and brought us together. And you know, it was quite an adventure. I think there was only, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe 8 events that first year. So
yeah,
less going on, but there was more downtime in between them where we were figuring out what to do and playing a lot of rounds together and getting to know these new cities and places and cities across the country. And, yeah.
Do you have any stories that you can tell us from that first Pro Tour? I mean, I'm sure there was this van breaking down this thing or something that sticks out when you're like, man, if I think of someone's like, you were a part of the Pro Tour from the beginning, like what's something that comes to mind?
I guess the one that just popped in my head was we were leaving Emporia, Kansas for Worlds in the RV, and at that point we didn't have the trailer, but everything went together so quickly that apparently we didn't have a license plate on the RV yet, and we got pulled over.
Oh my god!
Troopers, and next thing you know, there was like 8 of them all lined up. Explained to them that, oh yeah, this is not our van, but we're part of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And
like, sure you are.
Like nerve-wracking at first, but the cops were pretty cool about it. And then like we call Steve Dodge and put him on the phone for you. And then just after a few questions, but there was literally no record of this RV in their system because he had just got it from his brother-in-law, I believe, and I don't think he had done all the proper paperwork. Maybe.
Oh my gosh!
Really found out the answer on that one, but I remember I had gotten second in MP40. That was my rookie year, and the guy was like, "Oh, you were at the Pro World Six, so how'd you do?" And I'm like, "I actually got second place at MP40," and they were like, they knew what disc golf was, and they were pretty impressed. And I was like, get on the road a little quicker. I might have showed him my trophy or something.
You're like, actually, I have it right here just for reference.
Yeah, here's my hardware.
Yeah, I mean, and that was, I mean, like you said, that was a breakout thing for you. I mean, you were tied for the lead going into the final 9 with, I mean, another legend, Johnny McRae. What's it been like? I mean, being able to play at that level at the Masters Worlds, and in that environment, and then making that happen.
Yeah, honestly, I had never really had any experience like that before in my disc golf career. It was still the combined. So there was like with open. So there was a big gallery. I was just carrying my bag, or I probably had a cart. And I remember like, I really felt kind of out of body. I wasn't really that grounded. I was kind of just going through the routine a bit, and I definitely missed a couple putts. I know I wasn't missing that week to like pull away in that round, but no regrets. I actually look on it. It was like a really big moment for my career, and a growing moment to actually know what that feels like and kind of develop tools to be under a high pressure situation like that. It was something that I've gotten a lot better at since. So hopefully I'll get that opportunity again to take down a world title.
Yeah. Truly. I mean, that's something that's part of our sport. Like you said, being able to compete, I mean, immediately and doing that. You've been competing for a long time. Can you speak about that? Like even in that moment, you've been competing for, 10 plus years at that point, and then still competing today. What's it like mentally? You said you felt like you weren't present. You felt like you're in the moment. How important that is that to you, of your routine? And you're a huge advocate on most fun wins. And that's like the heart of what you're doing and everything. And that you get to do this. It's like, I got to go play this course. I don't want to, practice. Like you get to do this. You get to be in the middle of nowhere, Texas on a Tuesday night and do this. Like speak about that a little bit and the culture of our sport that you've seen.
Well, like you said, it's amazing to do what I've been doing. And I think that's something that I just kind of put more and more in perspective. Like it's incredible, especially at my age, that I'm able to do this for my job. And It's, you know, and I've met such incredible people and had great experiences, and it's kind of like I've learned to tap into that better when I'm in that pressure situation. Just enjoy my surroundings and breathe. Like, breathing is such an important thing. I think that's something that I do well in that experience in Emporia in 2016. I probably wasn't getting those deep breaths that ground you, and I was kind of more in a fishbowl and like, whoa, this is wild. I felt like I was just as surprised as anybody else that I was in that position. And like Ken Climo was still playing that year, and he was playing MP40, and he didn't even make the final 9. You know, it was like my idol. It was incredible to like beat him, and then competing against Johnny McRae, who had never won a major at that time. And it was like, I felt it was wild. I definitely felt like everybody was pulling for him. And, you know, I'm a good friend and a fan of him too. So like, you know, I would be lying and saying if I wasn't like super stoked for him too, but it was, such a wild experience. I don't know if I answered that question properly, but.
Oh no, I love it. You're good.
You mentioned being able to do what you're doing at your age, and you said you're 47. So, I mean, what are you doing to make sure that your body stays on tip-top shape, you know, while you're traveling the globe and driving, you know, extenuous hours, and, you know, what are you doing there?
Honestly, like, I do daily exercises. I try to keep my core and my back strong. You know what I mean? I've never been one that really likes to work out, but I like to stay flexible, and then I try to meditate every day, which helps with my mental focus and, you know, being present when I'm playing disc golf and when it matters. So I think, it's something. And then another thing is I try not to play too much disc golf. Most of my rounds are actually competitive rounds. I'm not one to over practice just because I think it's part of my longevity. It's like, I know what I'm doing. I just want to be really prepared when it matters. So it's like, I will definitely don't like to play courses blind. Like, I scope them out, but sometimes if I'm playing 3 courses, like 3 different events, I'm not going to go try to play all 3 of those right before the tournament, because physically I'm not going to be as ready. So it's like, I know the shots I need to throw. So I have a pretty straightforward, simple game. I like, you know, throw the disc pretty straight, and I think I'm a unique case as far as like the practicing. Obviously, I like to practice putt as much as I can just to keep that going. But as far as like practicing courses, it's more I enjoy it more, and I feel like I play better when I'm not overdoing it. It's like I like to play when it really matters.
I think that's very wise. It's a wise thing to do, and a great way to go about it, right? As a competitor, not overdoing the practice, knowing I'm confident, right? I can do this. I just got to get out there and play my game, throw the discs straight, right?
Sure. You know, and it is, and it's definitely like on these long drives, man, I'm like, each stop I get, I'm doing my little exercises. I get my roller out, make sure that my back's loose, and I have my massage gun, and, you know, keeping my arms loose while I'm driving because I'm very engaged the whole time. And it's like, I'm very aware of my body. So it's like, I'm good at getting it in the where I want it to be for competition. I think that's very crucial.
Is that something that you've always had, or was there someone that you know, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, that kind of like instilled that in you? Or is that something you've kind of developed with the years you've been on the road and, you know, the line of work that you're in, like realizing I am an athlete, I have to protect my body and, you know, do it. But you talk about the mindfulness and the practices like that. That's not something everyone's doing. I think so many people, as the sport's been growing, they're looking at as, how do I get the strongest? How do I throw the furthest? How do I play the most? How do I am I most prepared? And it sounds like you're kind of going against the grain and going like, I want to be, you know, present. I want to be grounded. I want to be breathing. I want to be, you know, kind of doing the opposite of what a lot of up and coming players are doing.
I think it's like, it's something I just learned from experience and learned about myself. You know, it's some of my like favorite people to play with. They are kind of the opposite. They want to practice a lot and play as many rounds as they can. And it's kind of like, and I've done that, and it just doesn't work for me physically or mentally. it's a lot of it is I don't like to have the baggage before. Also, it's like I don't want to have these expectations or fears, or it's like I kind of like having a cleaner palette with it, so that way it keeps me more present. But it's honestly just through trial and error, really, is how it's worked for me. I find that a lot of the time I play a course the best the first time I play it, and it usually takes me a while to get better than that. And I think a lot of it just kind of goes to what I was saying before. It's just, see it and do it, and having the confidence that I know I can throw those shots. And yeah, it's fun. I've like really learned how to like scout out courses where I feel like I can learn a lot more by walking through a course without throwing any shots, because I'm just like using my rangefinder and looking at trees, how far they are, what this is, and like what's okay, I need to throw it this far to beat that point, and then I look backwards and then I scope out greens to like figure out areas where I do and don't want to be, whereas maybe throwing one or two shots through there, I'm not going to necessarily pick up on that as much. So it's something that it's like about having fun, and it's kind of more fun for me that way. It's like I like to scout them and then go do it. It's like, and it's a lot of it I've been playing for over 30 years, so it's like I know, and it's sure I'm getting better in certain things, but it's like I don't really expect to really increase my skill level by tons and tons of practice at this point. It's mostly just being prepared when it matters.
And asking for a friend, what would it cost to have you come do that for the tournament that Zach and I are playing in the next couple of weeks, just so I can beat Zach? There's no other reason. Give me a hard number. We'll fly you out to here in Georgia.
Number. When is it?
March 9th and 10th.
March 9th and 10th. I think that I'll be in Waco.
Okay. All right. We'll let it slide next time. But I love the insight. $5,000? Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
We can put that together.
I got a cat sitting in my lap that's worth about $2,000. So we'll put that together. We'll make it happen. I love the insight though. I think that's just goes to show, I mean, there's in preparing for this interview, and just like you said, like seeing your career for so long, and getting on some lead cards, doing these things, like your name is known in the sport, whether it's locally in Santa Cruz, whether it's on the Masters Tour, everything. Like your way of doing disc golf is different. And so one, thank you for setting that standard that like you can enjoy every single day and you don't have to grind as hard as everyone else around you. And like, that's kind of the coming back to the heart of it. But I think a lot of it too, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you've been throwing a very similar bag. I would assume you've had discs in your bag for so long. Are you someone that's like constantly changing your bag, or are you like, I've had this aftershock, I've had this, hurricane for, this amount of time, and you just know your discs that well?
Yeah, I definitely have some discs that have been in my bag for quite a long time. I think I have a pipeline that was the first two pipelines that I got back in 2016. That's probably the longest disc in my bag, but
okay.
No, I've been throwing DGA exclusively for, in the beginning I would throw some nukes and stuff like that, but for quite a while. And so, yeah, my bag I know it really well. I do incorporate new discs when they come out though. Like the Quake was definitely my favorite disc that came out in DGA in quite a while, that really filled a hole. And, but I mostly throw Hurricanes, and I have ones that I'm really attached to and I love, and but I have quite a few of them. I kind of cycle them in and out. It depends on the course I'm playing, and then there's certain ones that I'll never throw where there's water, just because I can't emote, or part of my game, I just don't want to lose them, so I won't throw them on water holes or things like that. So yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of why I don't. I've thought about it recently. Like, God, what would it be like if I had a new sponsor and like threw new discs? I'm like, wow, I probably would have to practice a lot more. I don't know. It doesn't take me very long to figure out how a frisbee flies. So, but there's no plans of that though. I love being on DGA, and I love all my discs, and yeah, the lineup's incredible, and it's so cool to be a part of it. Now it's like this year's like DGA's really been put on the map this year. We picked up so many great up and coming players, and it's like I said, I like to consume disc golf content too, and it's like can't go through a podcast where they're talking about DGA or this player and this and that, and like all the players who moved on are already getting wins and A-tier wins, and it's pretty awesome. And to see to see aftershocks fly. Like I've been throwing them this whole time, and it never really got much traction, even though it's such a great mid-range. But now to see people like Cole throw a freaking after 450 feet, it's just like, but it also like, it warms my heart. It's that kind of has just been, I don't want to say discontinued, but it's probably been pretty close to where like, I don't know if we should really put much more effort in manufacturing these discs, but they're so good. Like it didn't take me long to switch from a rock to an aftershock. That was really, really easy for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm building my bag right now. I'm on Team DGA this year for the first time. So actually you said aftershock. I actually got a first flight aftershock in the mail today from Dom's Dies. He sent it to me. So super cool to have these like first flights. And then actually I was like, I have to grab a couple discs. I bought this disc actually from you. These old Squalls that are just money.
Yep, the old SPs. Those are good ones. They last so long too. I think a Squall is always useful. Like you might start off a little bit overstable, get to straight, and then get to flippy. But man, yeah, Squall is such a useful disc for so many different things.
Yeah,
I actually get out of jail disc, or like have to make a putt through the woods, and like there's a teeny little skinny hole or something like that. It's like a Squall is what I pull out for that, just because the way it's shaped, it like fights through branches, and yeah, I love the way that they slide on. Like De La is such a hard pan kind of course. You can throw them flat, and instead of like checking up, they'll actually slide straight, which is such a neat thing for kind of a mid-range type of disc.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite disc.
Cool. Yeah, it's when they first came out, one of my good buddies, Marshall, gave me a first run Squall for my birthday, and he's like, "Oh, here's a new disc. It was down at DJ's. Happy birthday!" And I was like, "Oh, cool." And then it's like, I think that was probably 2003 or 4. So,
what was the stamp on those? It was like were they red? Like it was a red disc, and then it had like this like kind of small basket. Is that what the first flight? They didn't say first flight on them, did they?
Kind of the old DGA logo. They didn't say first flight. They weren't putting anything first flight at that point. But there was mine were orange.
Okay.
Red ones, blue ones, white ones, orange ones, some yellow ones. I think that's about it though. But
yeah, I have 2 red ones. Yeah, I have 2 red ones, and actually aced with one a couple weeks ago. They're so good. They're straight as heck, and it took me a lot of tries, but I had to go get an ace with being on team another round this year, and was like, I need to go ace. I threw so many discs, and I was like, thank God it was with a first flight Squall. It felt so good. So I love that.
First tournament ace was with a Squall. Yeah. Playing with Nate Doss too.
That's awesome. Let's we had thank you so much for your time. We got a couple more questions here. You've been a part of, like I said, DGA into your 15th season, in a company that's kind of was in your backyard growing up. You're like, you've said many times, I couldn't see myself going anywhere else. What's it been like to be a part of a family like that for so long? I mean, because these guys, you've got to know everybody at the shop. You've been a part of this thing for so long.
Yeah, that's definitely what it feels like a family is when I go into the shop. It's like I've known everybody in there. It's kind of like I can't go in there without spending like at least 3 hours. It seems like I'm quick stop and grab this and that, and I just I like to chit chat, and I go into the office, and I swear those guys get like no work done when I go in there because I'm just distracted. and then Scott Keating, the manager, he's such a good person, and like it's such an awesome to have like somebody like him running the company. He's just so down to earth. He's so grounded. He's got such a level head when it comes to things. If I've ever had any kind of issue with anything and I talk to him about it, I come out like feeling so much better. And and then Farina and like KK, I've known her since she was in high school, and buddy John, it's like we really had some incredible friendships that have come through being through that. And then it's wild now. It's like a lot of these new players I don't really even know yet, and it's kind of like it's awesome to see it growing, but it's kind of like there's parts of it like, gosh, hopefully I can get to spend some time with some of these new players and get to know them a bit, because I'm a fan of all of them, and I think they all match the bill of like what DGA wants representing, not only good players but like good people, the kind of people that you want to have playing on your card. type of thing, and you know, that most fun wins philosophy. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky to have had DGA in my backyard, and you know, kind of it was always a no-brainer to be on the team, and you know, I've had no reason to ever want to go anywhere else.
Yeah. Before we get into Thailand and everything else, I do want to share this because you mentioned this. It's the family, and that's something I've loved so much. I have here my first ever disc that I ever was sent to me, ever given to me, was this old Hurricane. And it was sent to me from none other than John. And he sent me this. And so he sent me, says, Mitchell, hope you like it. He's one of my childhood friends, was his uncle. And so really cool to have this and to come full circle. I got to have a conversation with my buddy Alec, John's nephew, when I first got signed with DGA. And it was just such a cool moment of like that family, and like, because he grew up seeing his uncle play for so long and being able to do that. And like, he gave me some of his old discs. And so being able to have like the JB Hurricanes, all that stuff. And so this now is a wall hanger. I don't throw this one anymore. But the heart of that.
That's a great run. But
oh yeah.
John for you, man. He was such a human man. He really made an impact on pretty much anybody that he met, and I can't think of a single disc golfer that influenced me more than him. So sorry, I'm a little.
No, you're good. No, I know. Yeah.
Love that guy. I miss him, but you know.
Yeah, that's incredible. I didn't want to choke you up, but I mean, it definitely. I know that's a special thing, and something that's just so thankful to be able to have something like that in the family, and in, you know, that embodies disc golf. And there's so many people look at you in that way too. And so it's just so awesome to hear that you've been a part of DGA, a part of this family, setting that standard of what it looks like to live on and off the course as a disc golfer. But let's get into Thailand. Zach, I'm gonna let you take this one because you're a world traveler yourself. And yeah, take over here. I'm gonna take a breath.
Yeah. So Thailand was one of the first places that I ever visited outside of the United States. I'd gone to a couple other places, but Thailand is a completely different world to me. So it is near and dear to my heart. I didn't go to Samui. I went to another island, another couple of islands, and I did go to Chiang Mai. So I would like to know a couple of things about your experience. One, why did you pick the Thailand tournaments? And you know, can you tell us a little bit about what that was like, and the camaraderie, or your time up there?
Yeah, well, Thailand's kind of always been a place that I've wanted to visit since my mom went there back in, I think 1989 was the first time that she went to Vietnam, and then also Thailand, and just came back with such incredible stories about it, about the people and just the culture, and how safe she felt being so far away from home. I remember I was really nervous about her going there. And so that was kind of my first, like, when I was like, I want to go there someday. And then basically the Samui tournament happening, like Terry Miller going and making coverage, and just seeing, like, I've had friends who've been going over and playing ever since the beginning. And it's just kind of like, wow, that'd be awesome. Not only could I like go to Thailand, but I could play a disc golf tournament. And then they like were making it an A tier. So it was like, wow, I could play an A tier on an island in Thailand. And so that's definitely like that's what put it on the map for me. And then so last year was I've been wanting to make the trip for a while, but I wanted to be able to go and really experience it. I wasn't like 2 weeks is not enough for me or something like that. So I wanted to go spend a good chunk of time. So I basically spent close to 3 months in Southeast Asia last year.
Wow.
And yeah, it was awesome. And kind of the trip finished with the Koh Samui tournament. So I really was already pretty comfortable there before, and I got introduced. I like went to Chiang Mai, and then kind of without really a plan to play disc golf, but then they have this new blooming community there, and I like became friends with all the local disc golfers there, and especially like Aaron Herman, who's kind of the organizer and runs the tournament. Him and his family kind of like took me in under their wing. He's got 3 kids and an amazing wife, and they introduced me to so much food, and just like all of a sudden I was just like, whoa, I feel so comfortable here. I felt like so at home. You know, it was like I kind of lived like a normal life. I didn't feel like a tourist. It was more like every day I was just like eating with friends, going to play some disc golf, seeing some music, just, you know, wandering around, experiencing a whole new culture. And it's like, it's got a very laid back vibe up there. And, you know, me coming from Santa Cruz, I can definitely really relate to that and felt really comfortable. And so basically it really affected me. And I'm like, wow, I want to come here every winter. So I did it again this winter. I spent almost 3.5 months, I think 97 days on this trip. So
wow.
It's pretty amazing. It's like, and Chiang Mai, in my opinion, has the best courses. They have 2 18-hole courses. You know, one of them, Lana Rock Gardens, out in the mountains, kind of goes up and down hills. It kind of reminds me of like a little mini De La, but it's just absolutely beautiful, peaceful out there. It's on a private piece of property that just feels so lucky to be able to play disc golf out there. And so, yeah, it's, you know, pretty amazing place.
That's incredible.
It's my gosh, like coming from Santa Cruz where everything is so expensive, and just, it's like there I was able to rent an apartment for a couple months, rent a motorbike. Meals are so cheap, and it's like Chiang Mai is kind of like a culinary hub. Like everybody's very proud of their cooking, and it's so affordable. And then there's so many more and more disc golfers are coming there. Like I'm meeting people from all over the world, like in Thailand.
What was your favorite local dish or local spot? Like, did you have, I mean, you were there for so long. I'm sure you developed routines. You developed, like, this is the coffee shop I went to. This is where I had lunch. Like, what were some of those places?
Well, so like in the Chiang Mai tournament, for breakfast every day, I go to this place. They call it like chicken rice. And it's basically like a boiled chicken, a fried chicken over like a kind of oily rice with just some cilantro, cucumber, but then like 2 incredible sauces that you mix in there, and then a little bowl of like a brothy soup. It's very simple, but that's like breakfast isn't really like what we think of here. They kind of just eat Thai food for breakfast. That was like
Khao Man Gai that you're talking about.
Yes. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, exactly. And then
it's one of the best dishes out there.
It is. It's so simple, but it's like it's more complex than it seems, like, to make it and get those flavors and everything.
Yeah, you usually can't find it here. So
found it here. It's like usually a place does it. That's all they do. Like that's all they do. A few different varieties of chicken, and then they just do it really, really well. And it's that sauce that's just ginger and chili, a lot of umami flavors. But if I were to pick my favorite meal, though, it would probably be like mook rob, which is like crispy pork belly.
Ooh.
Papaya salad and sticky rice. Like the 3 of those combined together, where you get some sticky rice, dip it in the som tom, give it a little handful, and get some crispy pork with it. And it's just like, I have one spot that's like, they roast in these clay pots, they roast the crispy pork in there. And it's I miss it.
And for all of that, you spend the US equivalent of $6.
Yeah, for maybe the mook rob, like maybe that's how much I'd spend on a meal, but like the chicken rice, $1.50.
Exactly.
You could actually pick 3 sizes: 45 baht, 50 baht, or 55 baht, and I think it's about 35 baht for $1. So yeah, it's unbelievable.
I'm so jealous of this. I'm like, this sounds so good. Like, that sounds great.
We just need to go play the Samui Swan.
Let's do it. Goodness, let's freaking do it. What was go ahead.
Oh, just the fact on that tournament, it's just there's so many people from all over the world. It feels like a little mini world. You know, it's like it's a small event as far as like it's a small course and this and that. But there's like I didn't get the number this year, but last year there was people from 20 different countries playing in the event. Like there was even more players this year. I imagine that number was just as high. I never quite figured it out, but it's like I was saying, I have friends from all over the world just because we're all for that week are converging on this spot, like this little coconut farm, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And Chiang Mai is like, it's become a hotspot for expats. So a lot of people who are like, I'm tired of America, I'm tired of England or wherever they are from, they go to Chiang Mai, and it's creating this huge melting pot of people. So I imagine that it makes sense for disc golf to now boom, because there's also a big younger population people who were just backpacking across Southeastern Asia, they land in Chiang Mai expecting to stay for like 4 days. And next thing you know, it's been 6 months.
That's so true. That's what my first time was there. I was just going to be there like less than a week or something. And then I was supposed to go to Vietnam and canceled my flight and my visa because I just wanted to stay there long. Postpone that part. Yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of digital nomads, people who are just working remotely that stay there. But then it's cool. There's one thing about it is like there's something for everybody there, really. I mean, you don't have the ocean, but there's rivers, there's the mountains, and then jungle. As far as like, tons of live music going on. If you're a spiritual person, like there's a lot of that going on. There's yoga studios and qigong, and then lots of Buddhist temples. And then if you like to party, there's plenty of that to happen. And then if you just like a little balance of both, it's just, it's a pretty sweet little spot for being a city. I'm not really a city person, but I kind of would stay on the outskirts of town where it was an easy drive to get to Lana Rock Garden, all my favorite little restaurants, and rent a motorbike and kind of be as free as the wind.
So are you going back? Far, yeah, so you made it this far in the podcast and you haven't started looking at flights to Thailand. I don't know what you're doing. I was tabbed out looking at flights just now. No, not really. But gosh. If
you have questions, reach out to me. I love done a lot of research, and I've got quite a bit of experience there. And I know people get nervous about going to a new different place, but it's really easy, and you can spend as little or as much money as you want. You can go and live in luxury for way cheaper than you do here, or you can be on a budget and find something nice and in between. And I want to inspire and motivate people to go. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any kind of questions or anything like that. I can do my best to guide you in the right direction to make sure you make that happen.
Definitely. I love that. To circle back to disc golf, off season is such a thing that like people are, I need to off season here so I can play all the time. I need off season here so I can, practice these courses or this, whatever. Making this your off season, do you feel like you're coming into, this is your second year doing this? Do you feel like your off season, obviously we could tell it was well spent. I mean, I've loved seeing everything you've been up to and then hearing it in your voice. You just sound refreshed. You sound like that's exactly what you went there. You achieved that. But also you also destroyed some courses there. And like shredded some courses with some insane rounds. I mean, battling with some great names of the sport. You're 1046 rated round, -17 during the Samui tournament. I mean, talk about that tournament, and you're undefeated in Thailand this year. So
yeah, it was a good year. I played some great golf when it mattered. I think a lot of it just has to do with what I was alluding to before. I felt really comfortable and ready to play when it mattered. And it's like the courses are just kind of right in my wheelhouse. They're definitely not bomber courses. There's especially Samui, but Chiang Mai's got some longer holes. But I think a lot of it was just, I was just really relaxed and focused, and I'm very confident. I felt like I was the best person playing in King, and it's like I had good experience there. And yeah, it was wild though. I really, especially Koh Samui, I really kind of went through a lot to get there. Like I had a spill on a motorbike like 10 days before competition and kind of bruised my ribs, which I didn't even know if I was going to be able to play. And then I had a dog bite me on my throwing finger.
Yeah.
And then I had a right in the middle of the term before round 2, I had a hornet sting me right on my throwing hand.
Yeah, I saw that picture. It was insane.
Yeah, it was wild. It was kind of like, but that was like where I basically just became focused on healing myself, and I was actually meditating a lot on that and using a lot of ice, and just kind of like my expectations went down a lot, but sometimes that's a good thing. And I just was, when it mattered, I was focused and comfortable and still was able to perform. The wasp definitely affected my forehand, which is, there's a lot of forehand shots at the Samui course, but I just kind of figured out how to do most of them backhand. And yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's incredible, man. I got to ask, how was it going head to head with Philo?
Oh man, we've been playing together since the beginning, basically. So it was cool. It was, we both really wanted to win. Obviously he's kind of Thailand and the king of that tournament, but I've been playing a lot more than him. He's mostly been focusing in the booth and stuff like that. So I felt like it was a little bit more advantage me on that. No, but it was great. It was awesome. Like I said, we've been both from California and pretty much started playing tournaments at the same time. So it's like we've been playing together before anybody knew who our names were and stuff like that. So it was pretty awesome. I actually, like last year, I played MP40 because it was an A tier and a couple of other reasons. It was more of a vacation for me, and I ended up shooting the best overall score by a few strokes playing MP40 last year too. So it was kind of like, all right. And people were giving me flat.
Oh yeah.
But I do for my own reasons. But then I was like, all right, I'm playing open this year. You know, I definitely had a little point to prove. So, but it was a good battle. It'll be a good watch once Terry releases the coverage of it for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Absolutely.
Man. Can't wait. Dude, Shasta, thank you so much, man, for taking the time. You're literally in the middle of nowhere at a rest stop. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for everything that you've, done for the sport. Thank you for sharing these wise words. Can't wait to have you on for more things. We're going to have a segment here on the podcast called Wisdom from the Ancients. We're going to have you on a couple more times. Take some wisdom from you. I don't know if we'd call you an ancient yet. You're not full gray hair, but I don't know. But he's looking good. Gosh, dude, seriously, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
I never get my hair cut, and in Chiang Mai, the guy spent an hour giving me this fade. It was late. I'm like, dude, I have to go. It was 150 baht, which is like $4 and some change for a 1 hour haircut. It's like, I couldn't believe it. Obviously I'm tipping him just as much, but it was yeah. I don't know. Usually I just trim my hair myself, but I'm like, hey, it looks pretty good though. Hey,
looks
you look
darn good right now.
I was about to say your hair looked nice, dude.
Yeah.
Good. Well, dude, we could talk to you for the next 3 hours, but we'll let you get back to your night and wherever you're traveling. What is the next tournament you're playing, and what does the season look like for you? What are some expectations you have with the tour as we wrap up?
So I just made it into Texas today. I'm headed to Victoria, Texas for their A tier that they're having. It's, gosh, I don't want to get it wrong, but I want to say like it's a long running tournament. I don't want to say the number wrong, but be my first time playing there. And then the following week, I'm going to be playing Luke Humphrey's tournament, the Good Boy Open, outside Dallas at a private course. And then I'll play Waco. And kind of a long haul to come play 3 events, but I'll get to see some of my best buddies during this trip, and that means a lot to me. Playing MP40, I'm kind of on my own little adventure and tour, so I don't get to link up with a lot of my friends are still grinding it out in the open, so I'll get to see a lot of them in the next couple weeks, and then I'll be headed back to California and most likely playing the St. Patty's the following week after Waco, and then I'll actually have a little bit of downtime and then till Masters Cup, which is in May, and then June be hitting the Midwest hard and going to Emporia to play Masters Worlds and the whole Midwest swing. And I'm still planning the fall. It's a really pretty amazing stretch of tournaments happening in end of August, September into October, like on the East Coast, which I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards I'm probably going to go, and I'm probably going to have like a good 4 to 5 month road trip from home to have the whole tour there, and then hopefully after that I'll be heading back to Thailand again for the winter.
Dude, awesome. Well, if you're in the Atlanta area, hit us up. We definitely would love to buy you a beer and get to talking and hanging out, man.
Awesome. I haven't thrown a disc in Georgia yet, so I gotta
what are you doing?
No.
The disrespect. Goodness.
Nothing about that. It's just, it's a long ways away from California, and just the way schedule works. I got to make sense of it and connect the dots, and I try not to have too many open weekends. I want to keep going and doing it. So, different adventure, but I'll make it there one of these days.
Well, if you just hold on to the $5,000, we will get $5,000 and we will bring you to Georgia and we will make you play with us.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I got to make it there for sure. I've never even been to the IDGC. You know, I know it's not really a thing at the moment, but once that gets all fixed up again, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be better than it was before, I think.
Hoping so. Well, man, like I said, we could keep talking to you for hours, but we'll let you get going. Thank you so much again, Shasta. It's been awesome to chat with you, and looking forward to have you on in future episodes. You know, any last words you want to say? Any shout out anybody before we wrap up?
You know, just thanks to DGA and hey, OTB. Hey, if you want to, you can still go get a glow pipeline from them on their website. It's an amazing run. They're like kind of the most overstable pipeline. So, you know, got to give myself a little plug there. If you want to support me, or you can go purchase one of those. But no, just thanks to anybody who's followed me along in my journey, and you know, sending good thoughts or just buying discs or giving me places to stay, or you know what I mean. And I appreciate you guys wanting to have me out here to interview me. You know, keep me relevant and hear my stories about Thailand. And like I said, if you're out there and you got any questions, feel free to hit me up. You know, I'd love to steer you in the right direction. So, you know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. And we'll be right back. We'll wrap up this episode with some event discussion and some expectations of the 2024 season. We'll be right back. You're listening to Park Podcast. Thanks so much, Shasta, for joining us. And man, what an incredible take. Like so many takes back to back to back of what it looks like to practice, what it looks like for the, you know, his outlook on the sport, like kind of a crazy, just against the grain way of touring and doing it. Like what did you get from that, Zach?
There were a lot of things he said that will go with me forever.
Yeah.
Competitive disc golf is a lot different than casual disc golf. I tend to get stuck in my head when I'm playing competitive golf. One thing goes wrong, it's hard for me to move on to the next shot. That idea of staying grounded, pushing forward, knowing you can do the next shot that you need to have, you know, the confidence there, the mental side of that, I think is so important. And then the preparation is completely different than what other people
almost
do.
A lack of preparation. But
yeah,
which is a trust in what you've done before and a trust on falling back on, I've thrown this putt 5,000 times.
Exactly. And you know, how many times do you have to play a course before you feel prepared, right? Quote unquote. I love one of the things that he said about when you're playing a hole or if you're walking a course trying to learn it, don't forget to turn around and look backwards. Get to the pin and then look back at the tee pad.
Yeah.
It's going to open up different lines. It's going to show you different angles. It's going to, a lot of the time, what it tells me is what I thought was a big hyzer is actually just a straight shot down the tunnel, and then you'll be inside the circle for a putt.
Right.
So it's that type of knowledge, knowing, oh yeah, I need to remember to consciously turn around and look backwards. Because usually, you know, especially if I'm playing by myself, I play the hole and I'm already like, where am I going now? Like blinders to the next tee pad. Where's the next tee sign? So little things like that, man, just so valuable to hear what he's doing and the way he talks about it. I mean, he's just so chill in general. So it makes sense that yoga and meditation and stretching and,
for sure,
you know, keeping the body clean and tight. It makes sense that that's where he's at. So
yeah, it's all things that you and I like hold close to, but I think just encourages us as people who have not played as long. But when it comes to yoga, when it comes to keeping your body clean, when it comes to being present without getting too spiritual for a disc golf podcast, like that resonated with me. And it's things that I'm doing and wanting to do outside of disc golf as well. That when I can get on a course and actually play and, you know, playing big tournaments, like I'm playing the best golf I've ever played in my life right now and pushing towards 1,000 rated, all these goals I have and everything. But like none of that's going to happen if all I'm thinking about is that goal. Like, let me be present. Let me meditate. Let me, you know, be in that moment. And that'll preach, dude. Look back. Like just the phrase of like, let me look back to realize, oh, it's actually a lot straighter of a path than I thought it was. Like, come on, Zach Harrison, the Reverend. That was good. But let's transition into the courses. An amazing thing that came out today from Udisc. a lot of people going, "Where's Udisc?" Well, guess what? They're doing some freaking awesome things still.
They're here, you guys.
Jump into this. If you're over on YouTube, we have this one sheet kind of report, what they're calling the Disc Golf Growth Report. If you're over on Spotify, definitely jump over and look at this. We'll have the link to this in the description as well. But man, some crazy stats here to be able to see. We have 15,205 disc golf courses in the world. And this stat is crazy to me. Courses have doubled since 2017.
6 years.
Like, I've been playing since 2010, and like there was a lot of courses, and now I'm like, yeah, there's a lot, but like I didn't realize it was doubling. Like,
yeah, over 7,000 courses in 6 years.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. Certain countries are doing more than others. Certain states are doing a lot more than others. We'll talk about that in a second, but I think it's awesome. One of the stats, almost 90% of disc golf courses are completely free.
Yep.
People ask me, why do you love this game so much?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's fun. Frisbees flying in the air. It's kind of magical. But the fact that you can get one Frisbee for $5 at a Play It Again Sports and then go play almost any course that you find.
Yeah.
It's $5.
Yeah.
That's your entry fee.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Can't even buy a golf ball for $5.
You can't. You really can't.
Let alone all the things you got to hit with it.
No, not at all. And I mean, seeing the growth here too, 21.9 million rounds scored on the Udisc app. And I love this too. 87% of players introduce someone to disc golf. And then the league participation has nearly doubled. So when it comes to introducing, hey, come hang out with me on a Tuesday night. Hey, come, play this course with me. Oh, you play it once. Hey, well, I mean, we're just going to get together. There's like 50 people coming out. Like, that's what it comes down to me, is like why I love this sport so much. I've told this story before. Like, I've been on a card on a Tuesday night with a dude who was literally a doctor, a guy who was a trash man. I was an audio director at a church, and then a teacher. Like, when are those 4 people hanging out ever? But like, because of league participation, because of someone saying, hey, come with me to this course, like, lives change, like directions of like friendships, and like everything changes because of the sport that we get to do. So I think that's incredible. And then the international growth is something pretty neat too, to see. Obviously the US having the most courses. Finland, we're not surprised. Canada surprised me. 791 courses.
Canada's so vast. I mean, it's massive, first of all, right? You have to then think about how much of Canada is like inhabitable, right? Like, you can walk on it. You could drive a car to get there, right? That type of thing. I'm glad that it's picking up, right? Because I mean, there's so much that you can do. And honestly, a lot of the growth in golf is just on the northern part of the United States. Michigan and Minnesota are absolutely booming with courses, right? They are, I think, top 4 or 5 as far as states.
Yep.
They're behind Texas, but just above those 2 states, Canada, right? So if we can start leeching people from the US into Canada to play more, and then have it go the other way as well, I think it's only a matter of time before we start seeing more Canadians on tour, and maybe even more Canadian stops on tour if people are able to get their courses put in and built up like that. One stat that I did like, Finland, it says that they have less courses, a lot fewer courses than the United States. What United States has 10,000,
a tenth of the amount,
and Finland has 106 or 1,068. But compare that to how many golf courses are in Finland. Finland has 198 golf courses, 189 golf courses. I don't
even want to know how many golf courses are in America.
Over 10,000.
Yeah.
Over 10,000 golf courses in America. So if you think about it that way, disc golf is by and large well above ball golf in Finland. And then you compare it to how many people live in Finland. So like per capita, they're way above the United States.
Right.
Just Texas, which has, I think, it's here.
It's the greatest country in the nation.
It's got over 400 courses.
Jeez.
They are like number 4 as a country as far as how many courses they have.
Yeah, it's
right.
absurd.
So think about it that way, right? Like Finland as a country has much fewer people, way more disc golf, almost no ball golf when you think about it. So they're pushing the game further than I think any country. But Estonia right up there, Denmark, Norway also right up there. So really neat to see.
Super cool to see. Definitely check it out over on Udisc. And I know there's been a lot of Udisc in the news lately of saying like, oh, what is going to be with the future of Udisc? This, I mean, these kind of stats and these kind of things, and millions, tens and tens of millions, 21.9 million rounds of disc golf were scored on Udisc in 2023. And I think that's only going to continue. So, I mean, this is a really crazy stat. 1.4 million disc golfers used the Udisc app in 2023. That's enough people to fill Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium, host the Super Bowl 21 times. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's a lot of people that are using this app, and that it's so ingrained into our sport.
It's making the growth even more exponential than it has been.
Yep.
One more stat before we move on to chess.com. Still, in the United States, there are more disc golf courses than Dunkin' Donuts shops.
Yeah, take that.
That's it. Dunkin' Donuts can eat it, or just start building disc golf courses.
Yeah, or just Dunkin' Donuts disc golf courses.
DG.
To put into reference, I just looked this up. As of January 29th, 2024, there are 16,386 Starbucks stores. So we haven't beat Starbucks yet, but that is disgusting.
One day. One day. We'll get there.
That's so many. Oh, man. Well, transitioning into this last piece, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. We already know you've liked and subscribed if you made it this far. Good God. But, man, we learned a lot from All-Stars, but we also didn't learn that much. I mentioned Formula One testing earlier, and there's some people that are taking it seriously. There's some people that are like, hey, we were not ready for this, and this is in the calendar. And I think we learned a lot, too, of maybe this person's going to struggle with the putter this year. Maybe this person put in way more time than we thought they did, and they surprised us. Heading into chess.com Open in a couple of days, who do you think, after seeing All-Stars, who's winning the chess.com Open or Invitational? Sorry.
I'll be honest, man. I don't have a specific person, but I'm going to expect it to come from someone who can throw really good forehands.
Really? Okay.
I think a lot of those shots line up nicely for the power forehand hyzer.
Okay.
I also think it's going to be someone who's constantly hitting putts from circle 2.
Yep.
So my first couple thoughts would be Andrew Marweed could make a serious run. Okay. Kyle Klein also. I mean, he was performing in All-Star, so we got a decent look at that. He could definitely make a serious run. I wasn't impressed with Ricky. Gossage actually did really well, so he could definitely do it as well. His putting, can falter sometimes, but those are my first few thoughts.
I'm going to say Isaac Robinson. I think someone who doesn't have a forehand but makes every disc look like it could be a freaking backhand hole. I think Isaac Robinson. I think, honestly, Ezra too. I'm going to say right now, I think Ezra is going to have we'll jump into some takes here in a second. I think Ezra Robinson is going to be in the top 10 of the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year. I think he's in better shape. I think he is putting the time in. He throws extremely far. But who's going to win the chess.com Open on the MPO side? I think Isaac Robinson is definitely in the conversation. Hopefully on the FPO side, man, I think Holland Hanley is going to have a year, and I think it could start here. She's been designing her own course all year, or all off season, and a lot of those holes and stuff she's been playing. She's very technical. She's someone with a great forehand. She doesn't have the craziest distance, but I think she has a full package that could do it. But you can't ever count out Owen Scoggins, who I assume is going to be there as well on this type of course. So interesting to see the tournaments that Kristen will not be at, because this is a course I think Kristen could destroy. She is so good in the woods and technical, and this honestly feels like a course in Europe. It has.
I was going to say it's a very European-esque type of tournament. But yeah, I would pick Holland as well. And especially now that it's her second year with Discraft. So she's got the same bag, maybe a couple new molds, but she's feeling more comfortable. And again, someone who can just drain putts from circle 2.
Yep.
You know, that's what it's going to take. So we'll see what's out there.
Definitely. I'm excited for it. Definitely check out that coverage starting on Friday. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited. I'm hoping there's some big upgrades and quality and understanding how the course looks, all that kind of stuff that's going to be coming from DGN, because the bar's low. The bar's low. And I mean, it's just true. And I will say the course took a beating with all that rain, so hopefully it's dried out a little bit. That may play into it. But before we go, got 2 questions here, a couple questions in this. I was just kind of looking forward to the season. Which MPO and FPO winner on both sides is the least likely to repeat or win again in 2024, Elite Series or Majors? We had a good amount of handful of just weird, random people. Players that hadn't won before that came out of nowhere. Someone like Parker Welk comes to mind. Someone, some of those players that won, maybe it was a fluke, maybe it wasn't. Who do you think is least likely to repeat or win again in 2024 that won last year?
I'm going to say a big name.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Gannon Burr.
You don't think Gannon Burr is going to win a tournament?
An elite series or a major?
Really?
I don't think I see it this year.
That's nuts. That is a take.
It's a hot take.
There's your clip. Hey, Instagram, how you doing? There's your clip.
I'll be real. Like, maybe it's based off of what I saw at All Stars, and that's a bad thing to reference my choice off of.
I don't know. From 30 feet, he throws real hard.
But I'm not impressed with his mental game either. Like, when things get hard, you see it affect him for multiple shots. I mean, he does have an advantage of a steady caddy who's pretty much on tour with him. Matt Schleybox, he's there all the time. But even then, man, I don't really see it happening.
Okay. My answer is Emerson Keith. I don't think Emerson Keith is going to win a tournament next year. He switching back to he was with years ago, I believe.
I don't know if he was on the team,
but he threw a lot of it when he
threw Innova when he was growing up. Yeah,
right. So I think winning a tournament in an elite series, I don't think that's going to happen again. I definitely don't. On the FPO side, I don't think Kat Murch is going to win a tournament this year. I think she's someone that is putting in, oh gosh, about fell. She's putting in the work in areas that definitely are needed, and her game is getting better and better. But I think there are too many names that are up and coming in the FPO field. And I think Kristen's just too good. Like, there's going to be such a small amount of FPO winners other than Kristen to begin with. And I think having Kat Murch win again is just not in the cards. Yeah, I think it's that playing for so long, there's so many up and coming players. And I think it's true too. Like, seeing someone that, like, but you look at the stats and you look at, last year, in the last 2 years, Ricky has won the most tournaments in the last 2 years. Still, that's 7. Gannon has won 6 tournaments in the last 2 seasons, 5 of them being last year. And Calvin has won 5 in the last 2 years. So those guys definitely are, doing all that. But then you saying that Gannon's not going to win that. I can see it though. New bag, new things. Or he could pull a James Conrad and just win world championships. I have no idea.
He could do it. It's definitely possible.
To continue that question, who will win the most events this year?
Well, Kristen's an obvious choice on the FPO side of things.
Sure.
Oh man,
it's a hard one.
I'm gonna give Calvin the year. I think this is the year that Calvin closes his tournaments and actually wins a handful.
Calvin's going to win the world championships.
Maybe not worlds.
Okay.
I do like Calvin more when there are more rounds to be played. I think he's so consistent that he can just crank it up while everybody else is maybe up and down on a roller coaster a little bit. But I think he walks away with at least 3 wins at the end of the season.
Okay. No, I like that. I think most events. Ooh, who's going to win the most events this year? It's tough. Calvin was mine to say who's going to win the most events. I think also in the conversation, when he's back and in full form, I think Eagles is going to have an incredible season.
Yeah.
I think for so many players that go to a new company and then are like, I don't really know my bag. I don't know. This dude is learning a bag left-handed. I think he's going to come back and he's going to have an incredible season. He finished off the last season being so close to winning so much. Podium finishes at Worlds, podium finishes at huge tournaments, going to playoffs and stuff. And for him to come and be able to relearn, have a different perspective, he doesn't need to throw 500 plus feet to win these tournaments. And he even said in a video I watched recently, he's like, I'm hoping to be back to 600 by April. And I'm like, gosh, dude, what? Like, if he's saying that and he's got the excitement and the grind and he's someone that's got a new bag and is putting forth so much effort and the knowledge of these discs and the plastics and everything, I think Eagle could win the most events this year.
Yeah, that with only being in for the like later 3/4 of the season, that is a super hot take. Considering, I mean, there's a lot of good MPO guys out there, and anyone could take any of these tournaments, right?
Yep.
Like there's no real standout like Kristen right now on the MPO side. So, but I love that, man. I am super excited to see him come back.
Yep.
And his rebirth, if you will.
Yep. Last question before we wrap this thing up. Who will win for the first time this year? I got one. Eliezer is going to win a tournament for sure. She will win a tournament. And I think it's going to, people are thinking, oh, it's her distance and everything. I think she could win a tournament that's going to surprise us. But I expect her to do incredibly well throughout the season as she learns it as she's growing as a player. She's learning the tour. She's got a good support system. I mean, she's with DGA this year, learning a bag, loving it, feeling confident. And I think we see her win one, if not two events this year.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to give it to Ella Hansen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
She came so close. What was it, Waco?
I believe so.
Against Kristen. I forget which course it was, but it came down to the final hole, and Ella threw a bomb that just went too far over the lake and ended up OB. Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking finish for her. I think she is ready to go. She comes back prepared. She's always been very consistent. And again, both sides of the T-pad. I love people who can throw both directions, forehand, backhand.
Not for MPO. First time winner on the Pro Tour.
First time winner MPO. I got to think about who hasn't won.
It's true.
Has Cole taken one yet?
Yep. Ledgestone.
Yeah. Ledgestone. And Ezra Aderhold or Ezra Robinson.
Yeah, taking an Elite Series or Major, because he won the Silver Series, but yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think Ezra Robinson takes one this year. He's been so good, and he is in better shape this year. You can tell he spent the off season like actually working and grinding, and it is just such a bonus to have your brother on tour with you.
Yep,
like they're basically best friends, right? And then they have all their friends. Yeah, they're all traveling together. Like I mean, it's such a big bonus. So I think he gets one.
Yep. My pick's Tristan Tanner. I think Tristan Tanner is hungry. He's absolutely crushing the disc on both sides of it. He's learning a new bag, but he has, again, support system with a lot of guys who are seasoned on the tour. He's been on it before. It's going to be jumping back on the bike like nothing changed. And I think he's got more fire under him to be able to perform. And I think it's going to be a really good season for him. And I think it may be a breakout. I don't know if it's going to be consistent, but I think it's going to be a breakout. I think he's definitely going to be able to take one down. So
I don't know, man. He's been putting a lot of energy into pickleball lately.
Everyone has. Macy put it out last week. Everybody taking out the pickleball.
Yeah. Dude, I watched the Jomez bit on the pickleball, like the Jomez pickleball champions, and he's like, every day I play pickleball every single day. I wake up at 7 a.m. just to play pickleball. I'm like, this is insane, dude. Gracious. You're a professional disc golf player. What are you doing?
Taking it over. In the Udisc report, there is 50,000 pickleball courts
in the United States.
In the United States, which is disgusting.
Although They have an easy leg in because all they have to do is put themselves on top of the tennis courts, and there's 100,000 tennis courts.
Yeah. So how do we just get disc golf courses to fit on tennis courts? We'll leave you with that. No,
or to fit on ball golf courses. If more ball golf courses were willing to put disc golf courses in, it'd be easier. But that's also a tricky community to just break into.
Yeah, it is. Well, man, this has been an insanely just long episode, but also I think it's been amazing to be able to break down some of these things. Thank you so much to Jeff. Thank you to Shasta for coming on. And Zach, dude, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm excited to get this thing keeping moving. We have the first Pro Tour event of the year this weekend, chess.com Invitational down in Florida. So definitely be on the lookout for all the coverage to come from that. Follow us over at Park Podcast on Instagram, and be sure to click the link in the description to support Shasta, support DGA. And thank you guys so much for listening. Zach, you want to close this out, brother?
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. As always, peace, love, disc golf.
See you guys.